You know, every single product out there has a life story. Think about the phone in your hand or the coffee mug on your desk. It wasn't always there, right? Each one started as just a tiny spark of an idea, went on this crazy journey, and eventually will disappear from the market. So let's dive into this incredible and honestly pretty brutal life cycle.
But before we get into the how, I want to start with a number. A really shocking number, actually. 96%. Just let that sink in for a second. What in the world do you think that refers to?
Well, that's the percentage of all new innovations that fail. And not just fail to become a hit, they fail to even make back the money it costs to develop them. So for every success story we hear about, there are literally thousands of other products that just burn through cash and vanish. It's this staggering failure rate that explains why companies can't just wing it. They need a process, a system, to try and beat those insane odds.
And that leads us right into our first section, which we're calling the billion-dollar gamble. Because when you think about it, that's exactly what this is. A huge, high-stakes bet on what people are going to want and need in the future.
Now, the official term for this whole thing is New Product Development, or NPD. And it's super important to realize this isn't just about inventing something brand new out of thin air. It also includes all the little improvements, like a slightly better iPhone, or even just small modifications to an existing product to reach a new group of customers.
So where do companies even get new products? Well, they've basically got two options. They can go out and acquire them, buy a whole other company, or maybe just a patent. Or they can develop them from scratch, in-house, using their own research and development teams. And what's really interesting is that while those big acquisitions get all the headlines, most new stuff actually comes from that internal development. And that internal process is anything but random. Which brings us to the real heart of our explainer today. The systematic 8-step journey that companies use to guide a simple thought all the way to a product sitting on a store shelf.
And here it is. This flowchart is basically the blueprint. Think of it like a funnel, or maybe a series of gates. An idea has to pass through every single gate to prove it's worth moving on. And the whole point at every step is to kill off the bad ideas early, before they become really, really expensive mistakes.
All right, so the journey kicks off with these first 4 steps. It all starts with idea generation, and we're talking about coming up with a ton of ideas. Then you move to idea screening, which is all about whittling that huge list down. After that, you develop a few of the best ones into a real concept that you can test with actual consumers, and only then do you start thinking about a marketing strategy.
So where do all these ideas even come from? Literally everywhere. You've got your internal sources, like the official R&D department, but also just brilliant ideas from everyday employees. Google's policy of giving engineers free time to work on their own projects gave us Gmail, and 3M's similar policy gave us the Post-it note. Then you have external sources, listening to your customers, keeping an eye on competitors, and even crowdsourcing, like how Lego gets ideas for new sets directly from their biggest fans.
Okay, but how on earth do you filter hundreds or even thousands of ideas? A lot of smart companies use this simple but powerful framework called RWW. First, is it real? Is there a genuine need for this in the market? Second, can we win? Do we have a competitive advantage that will let us succeed? And third, is it worth doing? Does it actually make sense for our business, and can it be profitable? And here's the most important part. If the answer to any of those is no, the idea gets dropped immediately. That one decision can save a company millions.
All right, so once an idea makes it through those first hurdles, it gets to the second half of the journey. This is where things get really real. You've got the business analysis, where all the numbers are crunched. Then product development, where an actual physical prototype gets built. After that is test marketing, where you try it out on a small scale. And only if it passes that test does it move to commercialization, the full-scale nationwide launch. Let's just zoom in on that test marketing step for a second. Why even bother? Well, you do it to avoid a massive, expensive public failure. And as you can see, companies have to make a trade-off. They could do a standard test in a few real cities. That's super realistic, but it's also slow and costs a fortune. Or they could do a simulated test, maybe online. That's way faster and cheaper, but you lose a lot of that real-world feel. There's no single right answer. It's always a balance of time, money, and how much risk you're willing to take.
Okay, so against all odds, our little idea has survived the 8-step journey. It's launched. But you know what? Its story's far from over. Now it begins its life out in the marketplace, which follows a surprisingly predictable pattern.
This chart right here is the classic product life cycle.
That top line shows sales over time, and the bottom line shows profits. And the first thing you should notice, the most important thing, is that those two lines do not move together. Just look at that terrifying dip where profits go negative at the very beginning, even as sales are just starting to creep up.
So let's break this chart down into its 5 stages. First, you have product development. No sales, just a mountain of costs. Then comes the introduction. This is a tough grind. Sales are slow, and you're actually losing money. If you can survive that, you hit the growth stage. This is the rocket ship phase where sales and profits just explode upwards. But eventually, that slows down, and you hit maturity. Sales flatten out, and profits start to shrink. And from there, it's the inevitable final stage, decline.
I mean, just look at the profit journey. It's a total roller coaster. You're deep in the red during the introduction. You make all your real money during that exciting growth phase. And then, during maturity, you're just fighting to manage declining profits as more and more competitors jump into the market. It's a constant battle.
So what happens when your product finally hits that decline stage? Well, the company has a massive decision to make. They have 3 main options. They can try to maintain the product, maybe by finding new uses for it. They can harvest it, which basically means they stop spending any money on it and just squeeze out the last drops of profit. Or they can make the really tough call to just drop the product completely. So, we've seen this whole perilous journey, right? From the 8-step gauntlet to the inevitable life cycle. Which brings us back to the big question from the beginning. How do companies possibly beat that terrifying 96% failure rate?
Well, it really all boils down to this one simple, powerful idea. The sources are absolutely clear on this. The single biggest reason for success isn't a clever ad. It isn't a lower price. It's delivering superior value to your customer.
And here's the thing. Creating that value isn't some kind of magic. It's not a fluke. It's built on a solid foundation of doing the hard work, of deeply understanding your customers, the market you're in, and what your competitors are doing. That's the real secret sauce.
So I want to leave you with a final thought to bring all this back home. Just look around you, right now. What's a product you use every single day that you think is probably in its final decline stage? And more importantly, what do you think is going to replace it? It's a fascinating cycle, and it's happening all around us all the time.